Up to this, we have seen the circular motion or motion of a body in a circular path or in a curved path. Now we see the new topic as rotational motion. That is a motion of a body about an axis passing through the body. Suppose this is a body of any shape and we rotate it around an axis which passes through the body. Suppose this is axis around which we have to rotate the body. You may change the axis, position of the axis. Now this is the position of the new position of the axis. You may rotate the body about this axis of rotation, or take the another axis, third axis. Here also we rotate the body. Any axis around which body is rotated called as rotational motion, and related to this motion we see the different topics. For simplicity, we consider the body is rotated around this axis. Body is made up of large number of particles. Each particles having masses. We consider the every particle and its mass. Suppose the first particle having a mass m1, another particle having a mass m2, third particle having a mass mn. We don't know the how many number of particles present in the body. Let us consider the last particle as nth particle whose mass is mn. Each particle is at a certain distance from the axis of rotation. First particle is at distance r1 from this axis of rotation. Second particle m2 is at a distance r2 from the axis of rotation. Third particle m3 which is at distance r3 from the axis of rotation. Last particle mn whose distance from the axis of rotation is rn. Body is in rotational motion, so each particle must have linear velocity. First particle m1 having a linear velocity v1, second particle whose mass m2 having a linear velocity v2, third particle having mass m2 is having a linear velocity v3, and last particle whose linear velocity is vn, and we rotate this body around the axis of rotation. This is known as axis, a line around which axis body is rotating. That line is called as axis of rotation. In this way we rotate the body. As the body rotates, each particle is rotating around this axis of rotation. m1 also rotate, m2 rotate, m3 rotates, mn. So each particle of the body rotate around this axis of rotation. As they have rotational motion, that means each mass is in rotation, so it must have the energy possesses with each mass as well as along with this body. So called as rotational kinetic energy. Suppose we rotate the body with constant angular speed. So body must have two speed. One is the linear speed, and each particle having a speed, linear speed, which is tangential to the circular path, and another velocity called as angular velocity called as angular speed. We rotate the body with constant angular speed, and we derive the expression for kinetic energy of this body. So expression for rotational kinetic energy. Consider the body of any shapes rotated with constant angular velocity. This is the axis of rotation around which this body is rotating or revolving. Object contain n number of particles, each of mass m1, m2, mn, at a distance r1, r2, rn from the axis of rotation. Suppose a particle m1 having a linear velocity as v1, so because of its motion it must have the energy called as translational kinetic energy or linear kinetic energy, whose formula we know 1 half mv square. So for first mass m1, E1 is equal to 1 half m1 v1 square. But we know the formula for linear velocity, v is equal to r omega. For a mass m1, we write v1 is equal to r1 omega because body is revolving with constant angular speed, so omega is a constant. Substitute this value, so E1 is equal to 1 half m1 r1 square omega square. Similarly, the second particle is also revolving around this axis of rotation, so second mass particle having mass m2 must possesses the energy or translational kinetic energy. Its value is E2, which is equal to 1 half m2 r2 square omega square. Likewise, we write the translational kinetic energy for each particle. For last particle having translational kinetic energy, En is equal to 1 half mn Rn square omega square. But body is completely revolving, total body is revolving around that axis, so body possesses rotational kinetic energy, and that rotational kinetic energy is equal to sum of individual translational kinetic energy. So E rotation is equal to E1 plus E2 plus dash dash En. Substitute the value of E1, E2 and En. Take 1 half and omega square common. So 1 half inside bracket m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus dash dash mn rn square bracket complete into omega square. So for inside bracket we use another term as I. So E rotation is equal to 1 half I omega square, where I is nothing but whole bracket, which is m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square. It can be written in mathematical form as I is equal to summation, where I varies from 1 to n mi ri square. So we get the equation E rotational, that is rotational kinetic energy 1 half I omega square. We know the linear or translational kinetic energy, which is 1 half m omega square. We compare these two equations. Then it is found that 1 half is common in both the equation. V square is analogous to the omega square, that is a linear speed is analogous to the angular speed. So only one term remain as I and m. It indicates that I called as moment of inertia, which is analogous to the mass into the linear motion or translational motion. Physical significance of I, or it is also known as moment of inertia. So moment of inertia of an object depends upon individual mass of a particle of object and the distribution of a particle or the mass. Particle must have the mass. So distribution of mass about the given axis of rotation. So I depends on the two terms. One is the mass of that object and where the object is present from the axis of rotation. If the distribution of a mass of particle is close to the axis of rotation, then moment of inertia is small. In other way, if the particle is present at a large distance from the axis of rotation, then its moment of inertia is also large. For homogeneous rigid body, that is body having each particle having a mass same, for that case we cannot write I is equal to summation mi rs square. Instead of that, we use another method of mathematics called as integration method. So I is equal to integration r square dm, which is similar to that. Here is r square, here is r square. Here is a mass, here is also mass. So summation is equivalent to the integration also. We see the more about the moment of inertia and moment of inertia of different bodies like a ring, disc, sphere, cylinder, etc. First we see the moment of inertia of uniform ring. Everybody knows the ring. Suppose this is a ring, so which is rotated about an axis passing through its center. Suppose this is the axis around which this ring is revolving. Suppose this is axis, around that it is in a circular motion. So moment of inertia of this ring is given to you directly. Using that we derive the moment of inertia of the other object. So there is no proof present in your syllabus. Same, the ring is now rotated around this axis in a circular way shown in the figure. So moment of inertia of uniform ring about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its plane. What is a plane? So this is a plane of a ring. An axis is a perpendicular in this way or from bottom side. So from this center, radius of a ring is r and mass of a ring is considered as m. Then the moment of inertia of ring I is equal to mr square. Using that formula, we derive the moment of inertia of a disc. Disc, everybody know the disc. Disc is a round shape plate. Disc is made up of a large number of rings inserted one inside the other. Suppose this is a one ring. We insert the another ring in it. Likewise, if you go on inserting the rings inside the one another, then we get the shape as a disc. This forms the disc. So we are considering the circles with increasing radius. So or rings with increasing radius starting from 0 to the total last ring whose radius is capital R. So this is a disc. Now consider the moment of inertia of uniform disc. Consider m is a mass of this disc, total mass. R is a radius of uniform disc rotating about an axis passing through the center. So it is rotating about this axis. About this axis is total disc is revolving or rotating, and that axis is now the perpendicular, which is passes through the center of a disc. Surface density, which is nothing but mass upon area. Area, that is a mass upon area. Area is a pi r square. Disc is made up of large concentric rings of increasing radius. So this is our first ring, having a radius is equal to the 0. Second ring, third ring, fourth ring, fifth ring, sixth ring, 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, etc. And last, this is outside ring. So radius go on increase, 0, R, go on, last one is capital R. We consider the one ring having a radius as a small r. Suppose this is a ring present inside it whose radius is a small r. dr, thickness of that ring. Area of ring A is equal to 2 pi r, that is circumference of that ring, and its thickness dr. Surface density. Density, you know, the mass upon volume. Here we are considering the surface. Instead of volume we take mass upon area. and area calculated 2 pi r into dr. Substitute that value. So sigma is equal to dm divided by 2 pi r into dr. From that, dm is nothing but 2 pi sigma r into dr, known as equation 1. It gives total mass of a ring having a radius small r. So moment of inertia of a ring is equal to r square into dm. Moment of inertia of a disk can be obtained by using integration of above. Rings are inserted one inside the another. First ring having a radius 0, last ring having a radius capital R. So integration varies from small r 0 to small r is equal to capital R square dm. Substitute the value of dm from equation 1. So 2 pi sigma r into dr. R square into r gives you r cube. Take 2 pi sigma as a common. So you get integration 0 to r cube dr. Use the formula of integration. X raised to n dx is equal to x raised to n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Here x is equivalent to the r and n is equal to 3. So you get the integration r raised to 4 divided by 4, 0 to capital R. This is called as upper limit and 0 is called as a lower limit. We substitute the capital R in place of small r first, that is upper limit first. Subtract the lower limit from upper limit, that means in place of small r we substitute the 0. Take 4 as a common. Upper limit capital R raised to 4 minus lower limit 0 raised to 4. 0 raised to 4 is 0. So you get 2 pi sigma r raised to 4 divided by 4. Write sigma last. We know the value of sigma, that is a surface density mass upon area, that is pi r square. Substitute the value in above equation. Cancel the terms which are possible. Then we get moment of inertia of disk, which is equal to 1 half r square m, or moment of inertia of disk is 1 half m r square. We know the moment of inertia of a ring, which is equal to m r square, and we get the moment of inertia of disk as 1 half m r square. Suppose this is the object which is revolving around the axis of rotation. We calculate its moment of inertia around this axis. Let the moment of inertia of this object is I. Now we replace this body or this object by another object. Suppose this body is now replaced by this object called as a point. The mass of this object is now concentrated at this point. So what is that? That means mass of this body is equal to the mass of this object, called as mass of object concentrated at this point. Now we rotate about this axis in this way and we calculate its moment of inertia. We calculate the moment of inertia of this object with respect to this axis of rotation, that is distance square into mass of this point object. Found that moment of inertia is less than the moment of inertia of this body, which we have calculated as I. So again increase the distance, again calculate the moment of inertia of this point object, that is distance square into mass. It is also less than the moment of inertia of this object. Increase the distance, calculate moment of inertia, distance square into mass. Again found that it is less than this moment of inertia of this object, but which is close to the moment of inertia of this object. Now we increase a small distance more from the axis of rotation and calculate the moment of inertia. Then it is found that moment of inertia of this point object is equal to the moment of inertia of this object. This point object is equal to the concentration of mass of this object at this point. At this distance, it is found that moment of inertia of this point object is equal to the moment of inertia of this whole object. Then the distance of a point from axis of rotation is known as a radius of gyration. See, the whole mass of this object now concentrated at this point and which is rotated at this particular distance from axis of rotation, then moment of inertia of this point object is equal to moment of inertia of this whole object. Then distance of point object from axis of rotation is known as radius of gyration. Now it is define it. It is a distance between axis of rotation and point at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated so as to possess the same moment of inertia as that of a body. What is the significance of this radius of gyration? It gives the mass distribution around the axis of rotation. So moment of inertia is equal to m k square. What is a k? K is now the radius of gyration. If the value of k is large, it indicates that the mass distribution of a body is away, that is at a large distance from the axis of rotation. If a value of k is small, it indicates that mass distribution of the body is close to the axis of rotation. So value of radius of gyration gives you the how the mass is distributed around the axis of rotation. रेडियस ऑफ गायरेशन सांगणं का गरजेचं आहे याचे उत्तर तुम्हाला इथं मिळेल. रेडियस ऑफ गायरेशन त्या ॲक्सिस भोवती मास कसं विभागलं गेलं आहे, किती अंतरापर्यंत विभागलं गेलं, जवळ आहे का एक्स ऑफ रोटेशनपासून दूर आहे, हे सांगायचं काम रेडियस ऑफ गायरेशन करतं.